Gyari ji, who's joining us at this time. She's a former Home Minister and also Deputy Speaker of the Tibetan government in exile. She's in contention to become the next president of the CTA. Dolma ji, thank you very, very much. It's Democracy Day for the Tibetan people and it's a parliament in exile. I only pray that very, very soon it will be, the parliament will no longer be exiled and it will be democracy in Tibet, all of Tibet. So can you tell us the significance of this exercise to all our viewers?
It is very significant, I would think, considering the fact that in our own homeland, in our own country, Tibet, which is under the Chinese occupation, basic human rights and freedom is violated by the occupying nation. Whereas in exile, His Holiness the Dalai Lama has been able to establish a fully democratic system, a fully legitimate representation of the Tibetan people's administration, and it is based on election. So I think that is an amazing victory for democracy and the initiative of His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
True, but Dolma ji, would you want India and the world to recognize all of Tibet? Are you going to make that demand, or is it going to be Central Tibet? Because His Holiness is from Amdo, which has now been made part of the Chinese territory, mainland. What's going to be a demand?
I mean, I for one have been saying throughout that India does have an international moral and legal obligation towards Tibet, to recognize Tibet as an independent nation. The first thing to go on is to recognize Tibet as an independent nation, because for India, if you are to solve the border problem, you have to respect and acknowledge the fact that the border today is not your Chinese border, but it's an Indian border.
Yes.
And we had made settlements earlier.
Yes.
In the Shimla agreement. Yes, China says that they did not sign it, they don't want to respect it. That's true, they didn't sign it. They had no business to sign it because, Chinese and the Tibetan side had, we could not come to an agreement between the Tibet and China border.
You're right, it is actually the India-Tibet border.
Yeah. But as far as the Indian border was concerned, it was done. The Indian side signed it, the Tibetan side signed it, and in fact, there is a supplementary document which says that if the Chinese government does not rectify the agreement, nevertheless, the two sides are bounded by that. So therefore, as far as the McMahon line is concerned, it is very clear. As far as the exciting side is also concerned, there is already established for centuries we did not have problem. We only had about I understand about 70 Indian army on the side of the Tibetan border till the Chinese invasion. But it is not that we didn't have a demarcation. The people knew when the nomads on both the side knew where their area ended.
No, true. And Dolma ji, I was...
So therefore, I would say that the first way forward would be to recognize Tibet as an occupied nation. For the Indian side, it clears your border issue with China. And for the Tibetan side, when we look forward to having a dialogue with China, China always comes with preconditions that we have to accept that Tibet is part of China.
No, true. I was talking to Ms. Namgyal Dolkar, the Tibetan MP also, and she said it beautifully. She said Tibet is our fatherland, which we have been robbed of. India is our motherland, and we want to ensure that the Chinese and the PLA don't invade that too, and they don't get across to that. And that is the thing that India and Tibet has been fighting shoulder to shoulder. It's a Tibetan soldier who was there with us when we captured those, and it was a Tibetan battalion or a group which helped us capture those critical heights that we have the advantage today. Let me ask you this. Internally also we've unearthed Chinese treachery. Liu Sang, Gu Peng and this entire network trying to infiltrate the Buddhist sect to try and disturb the Dalai Lama and the entire Buddhist leadership. Your take on that?
as far as His Holiness the Dalai Lama's security is concerned and the Tibetan community here is concerned, I think the government of India has been taking care of it, and we have also a Department of Security that watches out. But what is very, very clear here, I think, is that China is trying to and has been poking its nose, has been trying to penetrate within the Tibetan community in exile. But it has not been successful. Like in the case of the people in the Himalayas, of the Indian Himalayas, where there has been not even one known case where an Indian person of the Himalayan region has had been, the Chinese have been able to use such a person, So similarly, in the Tibetan community also, our loyalty to our administration, our faith on the leadership of His Holiness the Dalai Lama is there. So the Chinese, they may come and move around here, there, but they would not be able to, so far, not been impactful at all, I think. But however, I would not want to comment too much on this because maybe I am not the authority to talk much about it. But yes, it is a matter of concern, I would say.
Well, but Dolmaji, let me also ask you, we hope and pray that His Holiness the Dalai Lama has a long life and he's there to, advise and guide people, all of humanity, including the Tibetan people. But is there a post-Dalai Lama phase? Sometime it will be an eventuality. And are you prepared for it? Are you prepared for a non-Tibetan, head of the Buddhist seat as far as in Tibet is concerned? How would you see it? And especially when the Chinese are trying to plant someone from the Shungden sect and somebody from their of their own.
Prepared. His Holiness the Dalai Lama has prepared. But having said that, nobody can deny the fact that the vacuum that will be left is something that would be difficult to be filled. But yes, and therefore we do say, I would like to use this chance to say to the Chinese side, instead of waiting for the time where His Holiness is not there and thinking that then it will be easy for you to do whatever you want more. No, you're wrong. His Holiness, in fact, is the solution. And they should take advantage of His Holiness's presence today and find a peaceful solution to the Tibetan issue.
True, but let me ask you, and let's hope for the best, and there is something that is positive for all of us on that. But there are many women who are now standing up to the CCP. You are in line to become the next CTA president. We know what's happening in Taiwan, and there is a strong leadership there. But also within the CCP, within the Communist Party, there are former party insiders who are now speaking up. Let's take the example of Kai Jia, who's criticized Xi Jinping, called him a political zombie. So, a mafia boss. You think there is an internal rebellion within China, in China, who have had enough of communist regime? Is there going to be a strong cry and a push for democracy there?
I do absolutely endorse that today the leadership of China, Xi Jinping, is going through the most difficult time of his leadership. And also I, in a way, do think that some experts have even opined that whatever he's doing around the globe, making enemies, is also because of the situation that he is in China today. And you talked about Kai Shi,
Yeah.
She, I think, she symbolizes the dissatisfaction of within the cadre, senior cadre members of the Communist Party itself, that I think indicates. And she also talks about the fact that not just her, there's a huge number of people who are not happy about how things are happening.
Right.
And, even I read about the son of, senior leader Deng Xiaoping, Deng Xiaoping's older son, Deng Pufang. He had even come out with open questions, saying who is responsible for whatever is happening inside China today. And most interestingly, I thought, the fact that during the last, the Communist Congress meeting, many news media covered the fact that there was a huge number of military presence during and just before
Correct.
the Congress.
Yes.
And clearly saying that she was afraid that
Yeah.
some
There
kind
is
of
a certain
protest
nervousness there,
or, the revolt will be there.